computer. Hello guys, we're back for part two of the honest chat about crypto, and we have Nick. Who do we have here with us today?
Oh, mate, I was on the toilet. Today we have two legends, absolute legends in the space. Introduce yourself, guys.
Hey, I'm Modbus.
And I'm Crown.
Crown.
Modbus, you're the father of the junkies, basically.
Yeah,
The
so
Godfather.
I am the junkie father, the godfather. So
Godfather.
I am the father of Jake, who's the one of the founders of the junkies. But Donnie doesn't belong to me, but I treat him like one of my kids, though.
We're all
Fantastic.
your kids, Modbus.
Crown, tell us a little bit about you real quick.
Oh yeah, just been in this space for a few years. Consider myself to be a crypto hobbyist. Definitely not a DeFi person, and
You're a maxi.
Yeah, I'm not a maxi. No, I'm not a chain maxi. So there's that, and yeah, I just like to have fun and like to shoot the breeze and just have it all air out in the open. So
Would you say that you are a crypto Gandhi?
I would not say that. Only one person can say that, right? I wouldn't go that far. I don't think anybody should go that far.
You're a crypto connoisseur.
Yeah, crypto connoisseur.
And you're not a
Yeah.
crypto maxist, you're a crypto averagist.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't pigeonhole us, buddy.
So last time we ended up talking about XRP, several things, and we left it on a cliffhanger. We talked about wenmoon and we talked about price, right? So why don't we continue this chat about that? So what are you guys thinking? Is there a realistic way that XRP can get to 10K? This is something we see all the time, right? Moon and boom and 10K XRP and
Yeah, but
All
when
right,
you put the chart out.
I say it's going to happen in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks from now, you'll ask me again. I said, nope, 2 more weeks. And then 2 weeks from now, you're going to ask me again. I say, nope, 2 more weeks.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow's the best one.
Tomorrow. It's
Tomorrow.
going to happen.
Yeah,
No.
and strew a
Alright.
bunch of numbers together to make it sound like this conspiracy of a plan didn't work out, but it's going to work out next year.
Yes, next
Yeah.
year. It's going to happen next year.
Next year.
Yeah. So my thoughts on it is, yeah, we all know that Ripple's well connected. We know that they have really strong foundation and the board members, and they're doing a lot of testing with different banks, different central banks, and all that is great to hear. Now, what price action it has, no one really knows. And I'm not in this space to predict that. I'm in this space to support my son and to give him advice, and to help him grow and become a man, and make a really cool project and build on a chain that is one of the older chains, and it's really robust. It's been going on how long is the XRPL? 10 years, right, guys?
more, a bit more, I think 11,
A little bit
12.
more.
Has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
12. So yeah, I know people get upset with it and they're like, hey, all these other chains do all this other functionality, right? But if you watch some like David Schwartz, little bit older videos, he discusses that yeah, they may not be the first to do a certain aspect of what other chains are doing, but they kind of take a sit back and watch and see how well it does approach, which I kind of somewhat agree with, because I know like the XRPL is mainly about like payments and low cost and speed of the transactions and blah blah blah, all that fun stuff. So like with like the hooks and the EVMs, yeah, they're starting to come to the XRPL, but it's kind of like some people think it's late. Like I know Crown is in the camp of, hey, this is really slow of developing in the chain. I understand your thoughts with that, but I think it's definitely I don't know, it's a slower strategy. What do you think about that, Crown?
I should have brought my bulletproof vest. I'm getting like shots taken
Go
here.
for it,
I'm
Crown.
just
Go
like,
for it, Crown.
woo,
No
baby.
no bullet.
Go.
That
No.
that was just my thought.
shotgun.
Yeah, I would say that, because like I said, I'm not a chain maxi, but I do enjoy my time at XRPL, and I'll always be here as my first one. you know, when you go elsewhere, you know, you can't help but look at what everybody else has because you're on all of them, right? You're using them, you're integrating with them, you're experiencing what an end user would experience on all these chains. And then when you come back to XRPL and understand what they're doing, it's kind of like, okay, it's not as exciting. I get what they're doing. You know, to be late, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I just think it's kind of weird that you know, everybody likes to cheer like, oh my God, look what we have. And for me, my point of view is like, look what you have. Like, what are you talking about? The chain over here had it for over a year and a half, but it's a different chain, different process, and it's a different thing that they're going for. And so that's one thing that I kind of respect about XRPL. You know, it seems to work pretty well, and you know, if they're taking their time, then that means they're going to do it right, and we'll just hope that it works out in the end.
Just pick up on that, crap. Do you think people like that are like that because they don't look at other chains? They don't
Yeah,
look outside of the XRPL.
right. There's a
It's
lot of
I'm
XRPL people
that's
that,
it.
right. You can tell those that they're only in XRPL. Like they're not really in any other chain. So, you know, that's kind of, it comes to come like an echo chamber, right? Look how good we're doing. Look how good we're doing. Because to them, those updates and those things that are coming, those amendments are actually really exciting to them because that's all they know. And now they have it. It's like, oh my God. But they don't realize that, you know, over here, they're doing things that are unheard of. That is, you know, it's creating all these, you know, openings for them. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, you know, kind of interesting. One thing I noticed recently is there's been some talk about XRPL not having enough devs. And there was kind of open Twitter, or X, I should say, discussion about how there's not a lot of devs. And to me, in my personal thoughts, I never shared with anybody, but like a year and a half ago, I was thinking like, there doesn't seem like a lot of devs on XRPL because when you're on the other chains, that's all you see is all this development. And when you focus on XRPL, you're like, there's not much development going on, or at least I don't see it. So that's
There's not much happening.
But we've
Right.
seen a lot of the projects that we talk to, even projects that are coming over to XRPL from ETH and other chains. So I'm not sure if that's as visible, but it's happening, you know, just don't know to what degree and to what extent. It's not as open and public. Also because it's a much smaller community, right? If you compare it to ETH and Bitcoin, it's a way smaller community. It's a fraction.
True.
Yeah, I agree with that. It definitely is a you know, smaller, you know, like really 2,000 people, you know, or like buy NFTs, and that's not a lot. So it'd be great to see growth in that market share, you know, definitely. And what is the strategy behind that? Does anybody know? Does anybody have an idea? Any thoughts
Strategy about for?
to grow in the NFT marketplace
Oh man, I wish I knew. I really wish I knew the answer to that. I don't know.
and that was, you know, kind of like my thought. I was, you know, hoping that it would kind of grow and you know, and like a grassroots and you get more users and get more people, you know, interested in
I think, sorry, I think as well, a lot of people from other chains are, oh, XRPL, yeah, they still think we're still fighting the law case. A lot of them, I think.
It's a banker's thing. It's, oh, XRP is
Yeah,
just for the banks, and
it's
there's
just,
lawsuits happening. Let's stay away from it. I think that's
and
still prevalent.
you've probably still, yeah, you've probably still got the same thing as, like I said, to Crown. People won't go outside of their chain across all chains. And look
That's
what's
true.
happening.
Yeah, I have the same perception. People stick to their chains. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been going around trying a lot of chains before I ended up with XRP, mostly. Another thing that we saw this week is Stellar announced their EVM, right? So they're moving as well, but has very little attention to them.
yeah, sellers offering like their version of hooks, which I wish that the XRPL would get going, but you know, it's kind of slow to get stuff amended, which is fine. That's the way it's designed. It's not designed to hurry up and get stuff, you know, rolling it and there be bugs. So you know, I'm happy that everything's being tested thoroughly, and then when they find a bug, even though it's like a small bug that really won't affect much, that they say nay on their votes, and they fix the issue, and then.
So you're talking about the AMM amendment, right? That was
The
gonna
one,
go.
yeah, I'm talking about the AMM amendment. Even happened with the XLS 20. You know, like they found a bug, and you know it kind of got pushed back, and then we finally got it right. I would say that was probably one of the reasons why it's kind of a slow growth too, because everybody was saying, hey, you know, we're gonna have NFTs, and then you know, so, yeah, you know what I mean, and
I
a
loved it.
year
Damn,
later, a year and a half
it's
later,
not
then
happening.
we finally get NFTs, right? So it's a process. Yeah, it's slow, but you know, like what I do with my career, you know, I do industrial process controls, and whenever I'm like adding something to an existing plant, you know, let's say it's a water plant or wastewater plant or whatever, you have to keep that process going as you do your project. Let's say you do an add-on, right? So you gotta think. I think of it as that, like, yeah, we're gonna add these cool little features, but we can't break the chain. And you know, we can't break the plant. Well, I can't shut down the plant. So I
Do
have
it,
to,
buddy.
I have to be strategic whenever I do it. And I understand the thought pattern behind that.
It's kind of
Although it is
similar
slow.
to operating systems that run for 20 years and still use floppy disks. We were just talking about this earlier, because you don't want to stop a process that's been working and risk going into a new process that no one is familiar with and eventually might break everything that is like vital, right, to its functioning.
Yeah. You don't want to break things. That's the primary goal. But
Yeah, because it does transfer, you know, transactions really fast, and in such a great way, efficient way, that you don't want to break the one good thing that it's known for. I agree with that, and I think that's the reason why hooks, you
There'd
know,
be a
because
meltdown.
yeah, exactly. So
There'd be
hooks
a
are on
fucking
XL
meltdown.
now, or whatever it's called, but they will eventually get, you know, to XRPL. So it's just time. It's going to take time to build it out.
I'm not sure I'm up to the latest. Hooks is like a simplified version of EVM, right?
yeah, it's an internal, like quote unquote, kind of like a smart contract function that is on the layer one of the XRPL. So it's kind of like a its own smart contract that's built into the actual layer one itself. That's the easiest way that I understand, and easiest way I can explain it. What do y'all agree with me? Right? That's what Hook is.
I'll have to agree with you, mate, because I ain't got a clue, so I'll agree with you.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And I think also I remember David talking about it, and he said that EVM on chain layer one wasn't feasible because it would bring down the whole transfers, you know, too much. So much so that they're optimizing. I mean, Ripple is kind of the steward, right? Ripple themselves. And so they're really taking care of a complete optimization. They want to have every millisecond optimized for whatever transaction is being done on the XRPL and avoid it being bogged down by EVM. So that's why they're putting it on the side chain. And hooks, though, being a simplified version, they apparently managing to get that optimized and small enough to run without having an impact. I mean, you can
Yeah.
see it with ETH, right? It's constantly at 99% load, and people wait hours, days for their transactions to go through with exorbitant fees.
Yeah. I saw a tweet about a free mint on ETH, but it was like $800 for a transaction fee. And I'm like, wow.
That's a
I
bargain.
saw I saw something online that says that the ETH gas fee costs more than their house gas monthly bill for just one transaction.
Yes.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
And that's not the future of finance. I'm sorry. It's
Absolutely
just
not.
It
You know,
you
can't
can't.
be.
it can't be. You can you know, you can dial it up with layer twos all you want, but the root problem is still there and it's not going to go away. So I agree.
So in that
Yeah.
sense, ETH isn't going anywhere financially seen as a new financial system. Bitcoin, we know, is an experiment, and they even tacked on NFTs, right? A few months back, which brought Bitcoin
Ordinals.
down as well to his knees.
Exactly. And then you go with the XRPL, they released NFTs and it didn't bring down the network. So you know, I mean, I understand their strategy of, hey, let's kind of slow roll everything out and let's let all these other chains test everything before we implement them. I understand that. So, I mean, to me, it doesn't like, I don't like, oh, we get the FUD of, oh, you're slow and you're finally catching up. No, I don't see it that way. And I know some people do, which is, you know, they have every
The,
right to.
the
Yeah.
influencers and the impatient ones, the ones with
No,
clickbait,
influencers just say boom,
boom, with many O's in
boom,
it.
boom.
Yeah, watch my video.
Yeah.
I got proof of everything.
Look at my tweet. Boom.
So in
La,
that
la,
Subscribe
la,
to
sense,
la,
my
la.
Patreon.
influencers doing kind of a lot of damage because
Oh God, yeah.
they
A
skewing the
hell of a lot of
perception of
damage.
regular XRP holders, the people interested that come onto X, right? Mostly. Or
The
even
Yeah.
thing
YouTube, right?
is, yeah, the thing is that they keep saying boom and XRP is going to be X amount, X amount. They're not going. People aren't going to spend it, so that damages the whole thing. And they've. I just think that they've got no affiliation towards XRP because they just don't want anyone to buy, sell, or do anything. So they're doing more harm than good.
I agree with you. Like the influencer saying it's going to be worth $1 billion for a token. That hurts.
It's
That
not
hurts the
doing
grassroots.
XRP out any good whatsoever.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that with it. I'm not gonna spend, you
No,
know, I'm
I'm
gonna
not going to
actually use
spend
it what
my
it's designed
10
for.
XRP because it could be worth X amount in X amount years. So why should I? I'm not going to spend it, which hurts
And it hurts the
all
NFT
these.
communities too.
Yeah, it hurts all these people building and building projects and doing what they do because no one wants to spend their XRP. So why do they do this other than to get likes and be liked? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
I
understand
mean,
it.
influencers are gonna do their influencing and they're gonna try to, you know, get their engagement farming. I mean, it's, you know, they're trying to make money too, you know, and I take it everything that I see with a grain of salt. I mean, I've done my own research, you know, I know that the network is, you know, being tested and with this bank and that bank, and but it's not only the XRPL, it's other networks that are being tested also.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I've used the XRPL enough, you know, to know that it's a great chain, you know, it's low cost and fast. So I think that's definitely, you know, a winning solution, you know, formula that's going to be very valuable, I think, in the future. Do I know when it's going to happen? No. Am I patient enough to wait for like more growth and all that? Sure. You know, I'm still working. I don't plan on retiring anytime soon, at least 10 years, you know, but I don't know. What are y'all thoughts?
I'm in no rush. It doesn't matter to me how long it takes. It just sits there. So I don't really care.
I think
But
people, yeah, go ahead.
people need to be spending XRP. They need to be helping these projects out. They need to because it's not healthy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of still unknowns on like what's going to be the main chain, you know. Everybody sees that you know, like the Bank of International Settlements and all these big huge, you know, asset managing banks that, you know, saying, hey, we're all going to use blockchain, everything's going to be tokenized and digital, it's coming, it's coming. Yeah, they're telling us it's coming, but is it going to be on their own little private chain that we don't even know about?
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't know. We don't know what the future is, but there's got to be some kind of a public blockchain that's going to be interlinked, you would think.
I mean, it's David said many times, a few times, that people have a misperception about price of a token. People think that the only thing that will bring up the price of a token is if there's sufficient capital inflow, right? Market cap. And David kept saying that this is wrong, essentially wrong, that price is not tied into necessarily having those trillions coming in. And he also said that XRP has to be at a high value. So I think those things, they have truth to it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, if let's say let's say they do have a link with Swift and, you know, international money transfers, you know, like it's of course it's gonna have, it can't be $1 or less than $1. It's got to be higher than what it is. I really truly do believe that. But it can't only be just Ripple that is building and building out the network. Sure, they can be the main ones, but there needs to be other entities that come in and build. Maybe they are, and maybe they're just quiet about it. Maybe there's another Ripple or two that's building on the chain we just don't know about, you know. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff being done in the background, but you know, eventually, maybe in 5 years, we'll see more growth. I think we will. I think we'll get out of this bear market, and you know, but there's a lot of uncertainties right now in the financial world with the situation that banks are in, and I honestly think this is going to be a rough year as far as with financial institutions, banks, and whatnot. And you know, I don't think the stock market is is sustainable with where it's at now. I think we'll have and plus we're coming up into an election year, or we're in an election year right now. So there's a lot of uncertainties going on, a lot of businesses, you know, that I speak with and that I know that don't really know what the future is gonna hold. So they're kind of like being a little bit more standoffish than they normally are. Yeah. So what are y'all's thoughts?
I would agree with that because I know some people personally that there's been some companies that have been really rock solid, but are starting to lay off some people, and it kind of raises some eyebrows. And with the inflation rates, with cost of living is just extraordinarily jumped since the Biden administration got put into place. It's kind of interesting how that is kind of coming to fruition, years later down the road. And yeah, I can tell that something's going to happen. You just don't know when, but it's got to be pretty soon. And I think the election year is kind of interesting timing as well.
Yeah, a lot of craziness is going on in the world too, like wars and all that stuff. That's scary. Me I have 3 kids, and they're all at that certain age that you kind of worry about those things. And I mean, I understand, it's inflation's high, everything's kind of tightening up, liquidity is tight with banks. VCs aren't, like throwing money at projects and hoping it sticks, so that's also tough for developers to go in and, without a lot of funding to build and build and build, so like you see a lot of like projects that have small teams, but they build, it just takes time.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that, let's say, out of the top 20 cryptos that we see nowadays in market cap, is there going to be an outlier crypto that's going to come in and surprise everyone?
I think I don't think XLM, it's not a top 20, is it?
No.
It's
No,
like sub 20, like in the like 25-ish range, I think. I think
34.
34. Okay. I think XLM has a lot of potential. And Algorand, I think those two have probably really good potential. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts? I like Near also. I like Near. I know Crown is a huge Near lover, right? Crown?
Crown, you want to
that's
tell us a little
true.
bit about Near? You're a little bit more into that than the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to know, but it's like it's one of the communities that I'm part of, and I kind of spend some time on, and it's a really interesting chain that has done a lot of good things and is on a path to doing some really really cool things. And they host some of the biggest decentralized apps in the world, that's throughout all of crypto, and they hold top ranks and on some of those lists. They are on top of the list, and it's kind of interesting because the hooks on chain. Well, Near has done that last 2 years. They've had Aurora, which is a smart contract EVM on chain on the layer 1 chain. So that was 2 years ago. So so it's kind of interesting. I dipped my toes into Algorand with a little bit of NFT buying, and And the one thing I noticed about Algorand was that when I bought the NFT, it seemed like it was very swift when it came to my wallet. It was snappy, like there was no time. It was like no delay. It was like, wow, this is really quick. So my experience there as an end user was pretty good.
So I saw a video today that you sent over about Near because I really don't know all that much about it. I've used it just a little bit, thanks to you. And I saw, I believe that there is a Near app or 2 or 3, right, that use millions of people using that, and they don't
Yes.
really know that Near is the underlying technology.
Yeah, like Sweatcoin, for instance, where you it's a health app, and you get paid when if you move, if you set goals, and if you move and you reach those goals, then you get paid out. And underneath it, that's riding on the Near blockchain or Near protocol blockchain, and the users don't even realize
What do you
that.
mean by if you move? Tell us a little bit about how the app, what it does actually.
Well, my understanding is that the app is kind of like a health app where you set goals like I want to move this or I want to do this, and it's why it's called Sweatcoin. You sweat to earn the coins. So
Oh,
if
as in physical
physical
exercise.
physical exercise, yeah. So if you move and you exercise, then the benefit is that you get paid, and so underneath it, it uses a blockchain, but nobody uses the app unless they're well versed in this. They would never have known that they are using a blockchain. So that's really interesting aspect, and that's what I think we need more, and that's what's going to help blockchain in the long run, is that users don't have to worry about it. They don't have to do a wall. They don't have to do
Well,
their
they wouldn't even
passphrase.
know, would they?
Yeah, they won't even know, and that's the best way. And so that's why I like a blockchain such as that, because I can see, well, number one, they're literally proving that it works, and it works at a high level, and they're already doing it. So
That brings me back to the little chat we had earlier today. We spoke
Could I
about,
just say something? I
yeah,
could
go
have
ahead.
that for we could have that for site walking then, Crown.
yeah, sidewalk coin.
Site walking coin.
Yeah, sidewalk.
Excellent. Yeah.
We spoke
Go
about
ahead, Lee.
adoption, right? And adoption, we agreed that would need to have some kind of way to be an app that is like the traditional banking apps, where you don't need to have a seed phrase and take care of that. And so there would be a couple of ways you could do this, right? It would be either like it's your banking app, your regular banking app. You would not have self-custody, and you would not have to worry about seed phrases. And we know that Ripple is going into that as well. So they bought a couple companies that take care of custody problems for the big banks.
Yes, which is key. You gotta have some kind of a custody solution, because like what is it like BlackRock and the ETFs? I think the SEC told them that they can't custody it themselves, right? Is that correct?
I think so. Yes, I think that's correct. Yeah, that's very recently. Yes.
Yeah, and that's like recently. So yeah, it's definitely going to come into the future where custody is going to be key, with like if it's going to be the future of finance, the future of money transfers. But okay, so back to that app, that the walking app. Can you like buy like things with it? What is it? Is it sustainable? Is it, or is it just a kind of token that is given out to people for fun?
I think it's it uses real. I think you get paid real money. I think the transfers of money throughout the underlying architecture of it, uses Near to pass that.
Oh, really?
Transfers the data, or the transfer
Man.
that yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
be a
how is
millionaire in a
it?
couple of weeks, the amount of walking I do.
How would it be like? How would it be sustainable? I'm just curious. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. Just curious.
Oh yeah,
like-
I just know about it because obviously it's part of the blockchain. But I don't know if Sweatcoin's actually. So I live in the U.S. I should have made that more clear. I'm not sure that the Sweatcoin is available in the U.S. So I can't. I don't
It's in
think I can
Asia, I
go.
believe.
Yeah,
Come on.
so I can't use it. So I don't know much about. I don't know how it works. So that's
Oh.
yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, my guess. I believe that they get paid out, and I think some of the architecture and then some of the ways that the transactions are placed is obviously using the Near protocol.
damn,
I
I was
gotcha.
going to go some serious.
No,
site
Nick, for
walking
you,
out
we
of
need a
week.
swear coin, not a
Oh,
sweat
mate, I'll
coin.
be a fucking millionaire within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Swear
It's swear
jar.
jar
Site,
coin.
site walking and swear coin, man. Luke, site
Yeah.
walking and swear coin. Damn, I'd
Yeah, but
retire after a week.
That would be a cool use case is you have, you
Well,
give
you have
your,
a swear box, so swear
yeah, you give your
coins.
kids allowance or something, or and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and then if they swear or whatever or do something, then you go and you go, bloop, all right, here this goes into the jar, you get it
Yeah.
deducted.
Excellent.
The chore jar or something.
Mm,
But
sure,
but yeah, so the future is bright. There's a lot of talk, of everything being digitized. So I mean, I think we're all still in early, we're kind of the oddballs where we're invested in this crazy internet money, like I talked to my cousins about it. They look at me like I'm, an alien.
I still talk to people about it, Modbus.
But
I don't bother anymore.
I don't really either. I just say, hey, look what Jake's working on. It's kind of cool. And then they're like, yeah, that's cool,
Yeah.
and I said, hey, he's gotten a couple grants, he's still building, he's doing his thing, and they're like, all right, cool, and I say, well, look at all these banks that are, testing,
Oh, yeah.
blockchain technology and this and that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we don't really
Oh,
care.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crypto
Oh,
has a
yeah.
bad rap, doesn't it? Like in
Mm.
general. I don't know where that comes from. Like
Ripple
Bitcoin
does, you said?
initially.
It's from Bitcoin, but
Yeah.
I remember before I even got into crypto that everything I looked at, especially F-Book and all the rest of it, was I made X amount in X amount of time, 2-3 minutes, investing in crypto Bitcoin. And
It's a
obviously everyone
disruptive,
thinks it's a scam,
it's a
which
disruptive
I did.
technology,
I
right?
thought it was a scam.
So you have a disruptive technology that's coming into the old financial systems, um they are not they're not you I think they are in the background kind of buying it, kind of collecting it, but it's not mainstream yet for them, so they're going to fight it, or say they're fighting it and then but buy it in the background. This is my tinfoil hat.
I agree on
And
that.
then once they have enough, then they're going to say, look, we're using this, and then they expect us to, or they'll expect the other people that haven't been paying attention then to start putting their money in it. I think that's going to be in the future, maybe in the next 5 years, maybe longer, I don't know, but yeah, that's just kind of my tinfoil hat. I kind of see that happening, but yeah, they see it as a disruptive tech, and they fight it at first, and then eventually they adopt it.
But you can't. People don't want to give up the old ways, do they? That's the problem.
Yeah, like I have somebody ask, well, how do I go and spend my money with cash? I'm like, I mean, I can't tell you exactly what the future is going to look like, but I can tell you this, that banks are already kind of testing it and setting it up in the background. You're never going to know when they start using it, because they're just going to start using it, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
But the normal person won't know, will they? They won't. They wouldn't know anyway.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be where they're going to really know. But I mean, if again, tinfoil hat, like if you look at like Venmo and all those apps, they're kind of using, it's almost a similar like a centralized blockchain, in a way. I think that'll get better and faster and cheaper. Somebody will make a Venmo killer kind of a solution, and I think that is the next step into getting more people on board with blockchain. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, Venmo and they would just adopt the
Right.
blockchain, like they kind of
They'll,
already, like
they'll
Robinhood's already
adopt it.
adopt. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Venmo is a US only thing. I've never heard of that here.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
side
So
note.
like, my wife uses it all the time to send money to my kids. I got kids in college and whatnot. And
So here people use WhatsApp actually to send money.
Well,
yeah, so
It's built
we,
in.
Well,
yeah,
don't advertise, bro.
No,
we
it's
don't
Just as a
have it
chat
in the
app.
US. We don't have the
Yeah.
everything app yet in the US, and that's what Elon is building. So maybe he'll be successful. I mean, he has been on a lot of his business ventures, and maybe he'll be successful and make the everything app, and then everybody will start transmitting money through X. And
What
it'll
if Elon, who's
you-
a big buddy with Jet McCaleb, uses Stellar for that
I'll be
through
happy.
X?
I hold, about 8 different, blockchains. So, I mean, y'all know, I already told y'all, I have quite a bit of XLM, so I'll be happy with it. But I think it's gonna be a mixed bag of different tech that'll be used. I mean, if you follow the path and you kind of like do some research, you'll see that's kind of XLM's niche is like peer-to-peer, person-to-person, transaction. And then maybe that's what Elon will go with. I don't know. I don't think he's going to go with Dogecoin. I'm just
No.
I
I mean,
meme coin,
XLM also bought MoneyGram out, right? So they're all already in the real world, actually.
right. I think MoneyGram was at first working with the XRPL and Ripple, and then they switched over to XLM. I believe, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right, yeah.
okay, yeah, and I think that is more of in XLM's wheelhouse is the peer-to-peer. So I just, I mean, again, tinfoil hat, I think that is where it's going to eventually go. Don't know exactly when. And if XRPL is used, that's going to be more like bank to bank and international transfer and maybe even derivatives, because they did join the derivatives association, right? What is it, last year? I think
We also know that
Yeah.
they're part of the Interledger Foundation. The Interledger
that
protocol has been
yeah.
around for, what is it now, 8, 9 years. And I know that for a fact. For example, Apple Wallet has the Interledger protocol already built in for many years. So they're just sitting and waiting for this to come out and to happen. Where
It'll
XRP will
happen
be
eventually.
the background motor of sending $1 to me and I get the local currency here.
Yeah. And I mean, how it's going to look in the future, no one really knows. So you just got to be patient, have fun, buy some NFTs.
Absolutely.
That's what we can do right now. I mean, what is it? The price of XRP, what, like 54 cents, right?
Something, yeah. As of
yeah,
now.
yeah. Buy a couple NFTs, support the
Support.
network.
I mean, there's money to be made in NFTs. People
Oh
don't
God, yeah, of
understand,
course
right?
there is.
Flipping
Yeah.
NFTs is good
Yeah.
money, right? That's
Right.
something people can do now, right now. Get into
Yeah,
NFTs.
And I see it as helping the guys, helping the projects that are building, So I'm like, hey, I'll buy the NFT. I like the person. I like the artist. I like what they represent. I like what they're building. So I'll buy their NFTs just simply on that fact, and I'll talk to a lot of the project leads and the founders and ask them the questions and say, hey, let's network, let's talk about different projects and I really enjoy that. That's it's been a cool ride, helping my son out and being like, I think we were the second NFT project on the XRPL. So it's been kind of fun.
How about NFTs? We just had X-Punks land on the moon. What do you guys have to say to that?
nothing.
Who cares?
No, I
I
didn't
mean-
even know. I didn't even know, buddy. That's why I'm saying nothing. So there
Did
you go.
did it land today? I think I
I
saw
think
it
yesterday.
yesterday.
yesterday. Okay.
Driving
Yeah.
to work, it said it landed. I didn't even know, buddy. So that's why I've got nothing to say. I didn't know.
Yeah, I need to talk to Jake about it. He talks to the Xbox guys all the time. Need to ask them about what it, how it went and all that good stuff. And
But then I see their posts on X about that. Oh, our NFTs on the moon. We're not going to the moon. We're already there.
we're already
And
there.
it gets like 23 reposts. I'm like,
There
okay,
you go.
what was that all for then?
Well,
Yeah, it gave zero. I would argue and say it gives zero benefit to the holders. I mean, the fact that there's ones and zeros on a hard drive that's somebody else's hard drive that you piggybacked on, that's went to the moon. I mean, it doesn't do anything for the holders. It's kind of cool to say it. I mean, I get that, but at the end of the day, it kind of a waste of funds in my
It's
opinion.
kind of a waste the same way that when they did the big billboard on New York,
Mm.
right?
Oh,
New
the
York,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how much they
waste of money,
spent,
yeah.
but like 100,000 or something, and they
Yeah, it's
bought a billboard.
cool,
It is
but it's a
cool,
waste of
but
money.
what does
Yeah,
it
it's a waste
do?
of money.
Nothing.
Exactly, nothing.
It's
Absolutely
it's fun though. I mean, it's you know, it's a
I mean,
little.
they're
It's kind of
trying,
a
right?
novelty.
Doing new things to get
Yeah,
attention. I can't say nothing bad about that. But what does
right,
it
yeah.
actually do, right, for XRP?
nothing. That's what I'm
Well,
looking
for the
at. Yeah,
holders,
Yeah.
especially,
correct for the holders. Yeah.
what does
Well,
it do for the
maybe
holders?
maybe
Nothing,
all
but
the people who are living on the moon, maybe you know now they have access to
the Moomins.
yeah. Jeez. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fun thing, you know.
It's hokey, yeah.
I'm happy for
It's
them.
fun.
Got another
They,
question for you guys.
Oh, here
So
we go.
the other day I saw a post by Brad Garlinghouse official. He mentioned XRP ETFs are kind of similar derivative investment that might be coming. That's firsthand, right? We have
kind of.
ETFs now by BlackRock and all the other 10 or a dozen of investment companies that are selling the ETFs for Bitcoin. And they're bringing in massive money selling the ETFs, being custodied by, I don't know who, but they're advertising apparently. Is that right? Have you seen any advertising for ETFs in the US?
I have not.
I have not.
Haven't seen any advertising like you know, but I don't really watch regular TV all that often, anyways. You know, like the Hulu, Netflix, whatever. You know what I mean? But I haven't seen any ads for it. And I know Brad Garling has talked about it, but he was actually kind of asked the question, and he said, "Sure, that'd be great." I mean, he didn't say, "Hey, yeah, they're coming," you know.
He can't, right?
Does,
He can't
does he
talk about
believe
it.
it's going to happen in the future? Yeah, it has a good chance of happening. I believe it has a good chance of happening. I think maybe ETH will happen first. Now, do I agree on that? No, because I think ETH has done a lot of shady stuff with ETHgate that I know there's a documentary coming out, I believe, on Netflix about ETHgate. Do y'all know anything about that, guys?
I don't.
I don't.
Yeah, just from what I've read a little bit, it's gonna kind of go over their ties and what they've done and how they worked with the, you know, allegedly worked with the SEC. I'm not saying they did. I have no clue. I've just been reading what other people have been saying.
I mean, they
But-
did have SEC commissioner, what's his name? Forgot the name. Leave the SEC and go over to ETH, right? And endorse it basically.
Yeah, I mean that's
It's shady.
there's
It's
a lot
shady.
of shady stuff. But did they do anything illegal? I'm not gonna say they did. I'm not gonna say they didn't. I have no freaking clue. It's just whatever kind of stuff that I've been reading. But maybe that'll slow down the ETF for Ethereum. I don't know. I mean, it's a bizarre world, so we really don't know what's going to happen in the future, unfortunately.
I'm curious to
Yeah.
know what you guys think about Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin gonna be bought up by all the ETFs?
I think it will be. I think you know the big dogs are now inside the playground, so they're going to be basically the bullies. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean it's you know, double-edged sword. So it's kind of a good thing, but kind of, you know, also not a good thing. I believe. I don't know. What do y'all think?
They kind of did a
It's never
180,
a good
right?
thing, yeah.
They did a 180 in a way. They were saying Bitcoin is the devil and it's stay away. And now they have ETF approval and now they're advertising it. Come buy your.
Yeah,
So they want people to not hold crypto. They want it to hold, you know, be held as an ETF so they can make money off of it.
right.
Not to talk about the Aladdin AI bots that they have for decades, where they can do stock market manipulation, and they bring that over to their ETFs. You know, I mean, they can manipulate Bitcoin just as well, and they make money
Yeah.
off it. So that's all they care about.
Yeah, I mean, and they're a business, so I mean, I totally understand that. But you know, if Bitcoin's supposed to be the, you know, helping the unbanked and you know, like getting rid of the old system and getting rid of banks, that's kind of their what all the maxis, you know, talk about.
And the
Now,
masses do not know any of the truth that Bitcoin will never be any part of any financial system because simply can't transact, right? In a speed that's necessary. Like you're
It's
going to a
not, yeah.
cafe to buy a coffee and then you wait, what, 3 hours to get your transaction?
I'll come back tomorrow for
Yeah,
it.
wait, stand over there for 3 hours with a glass of water.
I'll see you in the morning for my coffee.
Yeah.
If we have
Yeah,
3
scalability.
confirmations, we'll hand you your coffee.
Scalability is key. You got to scale, right? And all blockchains have to be able to scale up if you're going to be successful, and you got to have low transaction fees, and it's got to be fast.
Instant.
So
Has to
yeah,
be instant.
it has to be. It has to be. Yeah. Instant, like a couple seconds, whatever.
Yeah.
5 minutes
Yeah.
or less.
Yep.
And if they can't do that, well, then it's not going to be the future. My brother, he's a kind of a Bitcoin maxi, and he's like, it's the future of gold. He goes, well, it takes time to move gold around the world, so why that makes sense for Bitcoin. I'm like, no, it doesn't. You know what I mean? He'll probably hear this and get on to me, but I mean,
Hello, brother.
Yeah,
but here we come into the talk of tokenization, right? So if we can tokenize all assets in this world, commodities, whatnot, money, all the currencies, then we're talking about what you were saying. So you can move gold. Oh, it takes time. So Bitcoin takes way too long. ETH is out of the question. You need a blockchain that'll do it right instantly, right? And we need also that this is legalized, because who tells me that if I want to move gold around, that this token actually represents X amount of gold that I've just moved, right? So it has to be legalized in a way where you can 100% rely on it, right? Yeah, it's got to be regulated.
It has to be regulated, certified. Like, let's say you're going to tokenize gold, it has to be, or silver, whatever, any kind of precious metal, it has to be certified. Like who's going to be in charge of it, what banks or what institutions are going to be overseeing it. I didn't know they currently have that right now, because I have an IRA that I bought gold certificates, quote unquote, in silver, in my IRA, and it's certified and registered and legal, so something like that. I almost guarantee it's coming to the blockchain, because it's going to be so much easier and easier to track on the blockchain. That's kind of, in my view, that is what the blockchain is built for, in tokenizing assets, like gold, precious metal, commodities, and all the derivatives, all that kind of stuff is, even stocks, you're going to be able to trade stocks 24/7, there's, all that is eventually going to come. Now, when it's going to happen, no one knows, but
so you can trade stocks without going to Wall Street, let's say, or through a broker. You can do it directly on your phone.
So again,
wasn't this a promise of Sologenic? Weren't they going to do that? If I recall, years back.
We don't know who's going to do it, right? And I know a lot of people are going to be are going to try, right? And I'm for them to go ahead and try it, try to get it done. It's great, but you don't really know who's going to take over on that avenue. But the way I see it is, it's going to happen. It's going to disrupt the industry. And there's a lot of big money that is in the old system that's going to fight it, and they're going to want it to keep a piece of the pie. So it's going to be a slow transition, to get better and better and better. I think over time, it may take 20 years, but I think it's going to happen within 20 years.
Probably sooner.
Maybe sooner, but I think maybe in about 5 years, it'll be used for international money transferring, and then eventually it'll go into stock trading, commodities, and I think sooner, like gold and precious metals and stuff like that will be on chain, and tokenized. But I think it's going to be slow over time, because they can't. I mean, you're talking about the world, it's not going to be instant. It's not going to be a flip of a switch. I think there's going to be many switches that get flipped. And whatever chain is used, or multiple chains that are used, those are going to be the ones that, of course, are going to be running the world. But hey, what do I know?
How are you guys on time?
You're the Modbus. You know everything, man.
You know everything, bro.
Oh, I just try to do my research, and
You're not allowed to research Modbus, you know that.
right. And like I've told, like, my kids, I'm like, you know, like I try to do as much research as possible, you know, that I physically can. And I'm like, you can watch some YouTube videos of them talking about it, you know, like the Bank of International Settlements, at the World Economic Forum. And then those YouTube videos will have, you know, maybe like a couple thousand views. And you go to another video of a cat dancing, it'll have 2 million views. Like that's how.
Hey, it was good dancing.
Right. I mean, you know what I mean? That's like
Come
people
on.
aren't paying attention. They just aren't.
No
And
one
they're
is.
no one is really. And they're actually telling you, hey, this is what's gonna happen. And if you aren't paying attention and you're not early to the game, well, that's your own fault. You can be
Yeah,
late
but
to the game.
the cat was dancing Modbus. That's
I
more
know it's a
important, buddy. Come on.
I'm not saying I don't watch my cat dancing videos, but you know what I mean.
Not to be conspiratorial in a way, but isn't that what they
Oh,
want?
God.
Isn't that what they
Yeah,
want? You're not
yeah.
paying attention.
Yeah,
Look over
Yeah.
here while we do something over there, and then
Yeah.
when they come out, it's too late.
Yeah, it's kind of all
Yeah,
by
of
design,
course.
right? It's the whole theory behind it, the conspiracy theory. It's all by design to keep us uninformed and to roll out the new system and keep everything hidden in the background. But they haven't been. They actually come out with news articles, they come out with videos and they talk about it. And you have all these conferences where they're on stage they're talking about it. I mean, they are talking about it. It's just no one really, only a
But
handful of people.
they know people aren't watching. As you say, they'd rather watch a cat dance. They know
Right.
people aren't watching it.
And even if we're paying attention, I mean, we're trying to, right?
The 1%.
Even then, it's kind of hard to keep up with the things that are happening, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really tricky to keep up with.
It is, right? And that's why it's like, you know, you have, I think that is the main reason why you have these the maxis for each chain, because it's like there's so many freaking chains out there, right? And they're like, how do you keep up with all the different
You
technologies that are coming
You
out? It's
can't.
just
You
so
can't do
freaking
it.
much.
You can't do it.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, I understand people being maxis because they're like, hey, I'm focused on this one chain and I want to learn as much about it as possible. Like I'm like that with XRPL, but I also look and see what other chains are doing too. And I think that's great. And I think it's great, healthy for the industry. But I mean, you know it's coming. You know, they're talking about it, they're telling us it's coming. We just don't know when. You know, and if you follow like the Riddlers or whatever, they're saying, oh, it's got to crash, everything's got to crash first, and then they'll switch it over, which I kind of agree with, you know, to a certain extent. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts about that?
So that brings us into a little conversation about the Riddlers and Mr. Pool. I don't know if people know what that is, but there's a lot of Riddlers out there, right? And then there's those that do the gematria, and every single post by David or God knows who gets picked apart in gematria and calculations and math, and then gets a meaning assigned to it of God knows what, a date or a price or a blockchain. I mean, you know, how much do you buy into this kind of thing?
I think you can read what you want into it. It's obviously everyone interprets things their own different way. So I don't know.
I think it's interesting.
It is
Yeah.
entertaining at the least.
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
say.
I think
It's entertaining. You got to take it with a grain of salt
Yeah.
and just entertainment value. And I think David does the same thing with his cryptic, you know, tweets and stuff. I just kind of laugh sometimes, you know. But
I think he pulls fun on it, right? He's kind of like making fun of it in a way.
Right, you know, like the cartoon bear, you know, and like, oh geez, he comes out with a tweet of a picture, and then you have, I mean, for months you have people analyzing it. Oh, look what color he used here, and he used a floor, and it faced left. That means that this is going to happen. And there's a couple of books that are kind of, you know,
you're
hidden.
talking about Bearable Guy, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And
there's
the reverse
green, we're mooning. Oh God.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I when I saw those, I'm like, yeah, you know, it was when I first started getting into XRPL, and then I bought a few tokens. I'm like, yeah, why not? It's kind of cool because I like that kind of stuff, you know. It's kind of like a cool little puzzle, you know. It's if you like puzzles, you know, you'll love riddles, right? And then when I went to my first Ripple event, I had someone ask me from Ripple, hey, so brought you over to the XRPL, I didn't want to say I'm a cartoon bear.
You should have. I seen a
You
cartoon
should have,
bear.
yeah, you should
Yeah,
have.
I just said I seen a cartoon bear, mate.
Look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, yeah, it was kind of like a cartoon bear.
So was
kinda.
that it for you? What was it for you, Nick? What did bring you to Ripple, to XRP?
Me, a guy who got me into crypto. I got to a stage where I thought I've got to invest in my retirement. That was about 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And someone was talking about XRP, and my little ears pricked up because I'd thought about crypto, and all I knew was Bitcoin. I thought, scamming load of shit. And I thought about crypto. I thought, well, how'd you get into it? And some guy was talking about XRP, and that's how I got into it, basically.
Then
So
you started
I
digging, right? Researching a
Well,
bit.
no, I just came home. I thought, right, wallet, what the fucking hell's this shit? What's this? C-Prey? Ah, shit, this. So I put
Yeah.
it off a few days and thought, that's hard. That's too hard. I ain't got a clue. And
Yeah,
it's
Bitcoin.
daunting. It's
Bitcoin's
daunting.
Bitcoin's the
But
gateway crypto.
but it's
The
the
gateway
whole
drug into crypto.
No,
Yeah,
but
the
it was
gateway crypto.
it was the whole wallet thing. It was the whole, what the hell is this? Where'd you buy it? Do I trust them? I'm sending them my money. Do I trust them? And I
Right.
just went for it and thought, ah, stuff it. I'll just go for it. And if I lose it, I lose it, and I don't care. And
Yeah, I first bought mine.
I shared my seed phrase because that's what you do. And luckily, no one was watching then, and that's how I got into crypto. And then, as I say, I met you and a few others, and met Crown and Modbus. And
Ron, how about you?
the rest
I
is
know you're a bit
history.
more diversified with crypto, but how did you find out about XRP? Or how did you
Yeah,
get into it?
XRPL was the is actually the second crypto that I wanted to get into. So like the first crypto was when Bitcoin, like early on Bitcoin, I was trying to mine it. I was like, oh, I can't figure this out. But to be fair, I didn't put a whole college effort into it. I was just like trying to do it easy and just trying to get in quick. And I lost touch of crypto. And I was deep in the political side of Twitter and news, and I was, very politically, I followed all the,
That
everything
surprises me,
that's going
Crown.
around. Yeah, following everything that's going around. And one thing that was interesting is that XRP kept coming up in like political news, and like XRP kind of like meshed. And so that's how I get introduced. I was like, well, what is this? And it's like, oh, it's kind of like Bitcoin or something. I'm like, oh, then I was perking up. I was listening to what people are saying. I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. So then I got into XRP, and I think it was right after the SEC it launched their investigation into Ripple, and you couldn't even find it. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So it's kind of like I'm gonna buy it because I can't, right? It's kind of, ooh, this is kind of mischievous.
But isn't it also kind of a validation that the SEC went after Ripple for XRP? I mean, it's like, okay, so they're going after it in some way. Doesn't it make kind of like validated?
Why?
It validated for me.
Yeah, out of all of the cryptos, it was like, why'd you go after that one? Unless because the establishment is Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Because JP Morgan is Ethereum behind the scenes. And so if they felt like XRP was a big threat, then that would make perfect sense. Exactly. They go after their biggest competitor that was starting to gain
if you're read into it enough, then you would think, okay, why does the establishment want to get rid of XRP? So it kind of validates my choice, right, in a way.
Yeah, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because you mentioned something earlier where they try to try to have you look over here while they're doing something over here. Who's to say that XRP isn't the, hey, let's look over here, and another coin or another thing is like, hey, we're building something else over here for when the time comes.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Is there a coin that'll come out of nowhere?
I have no idea.
We had this discussion, a brief discussion, didn't we, MD? Where we said, will another coin come in where it's a total distraction, the whole thing?
Yeah,
where it's like been secretly developed and it's just out now. Yeah,
where you would have to swap into, let's say, like if you hold any form of crypto like it is nowadays under this financial system,
you have to go into that.
Yeah, will you have to drop XRP and swap into it?
Well, everything. How many people actually would?
It depends what the perceived reward is, I guess.
How much of a game are we
yeah. What's it going to be used? Like is But like the
So-
establishment really loves to jam down their chosen products down our throats, right? Because Ethereum is a perfect
Yeah.
example. How the establishment says, you know, you're going to use Ethereum, and we're going to make you, and you're going to love it, and you're going to like it because we're going to
We're
make
telling
it.
you.
Yeah, we're telling you, and we control the lever, so you will be using it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because I still can't think of why somebody would use Ethereum other than that's all they've known, or that they just like losing money. I guess I don't know.
Ethereum makes no
Uh,
sense, right? It has just this massive adoption because of the EVM that came right after
Correct.
Bitcoin, and it opened
Yeah,
up this whole sandbox of things you can
Development,
build. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's being, yeah, and you know, and it's Bitcoin is just being propped up by Tether at this point, with fraudulently. So it's kind of interesting.
So Tether is a subject by itself, right? You get into.
Yes, a
They're
complete separate
creating
subject.
tokens out of thin air, and
Yeah,
nobody's
yeah.
really looking into it.
And we know that they're, you know, eventually there's going to be eyes on it, and what's going to happen to the whole entire crypto market when, you know, the light gets turned on to Tether. So I think it's going to have a lot of bad repercussions. So what are y'all thoughts on that one?
So if they pull the plug on Tether, let's say, with some massive lawsuit, there are some ongoing that haven't yet been executed. Like I think New York AG and a few other states are looking into Tether. If they get the the lawsuit onto them, there might be like the biggest crypto rug in history where Tether just goes to zero because it has to, and then everything
And then
goes to
what?
zero, right? You'll
Yes,
be left holding with nothing.
everything gets wiped.
Yeah,
Like it'll
trillions.
be catastrophic.
Because they put in
And-
trillions, right? As far as I know, they're close to trillion or something
Really,
like that.
yeah, it's just out printing out thin air, and they buy whatever crypto, or they buy Bitcoin with it, you know. Now that's what's propping it up, right? I think they buy other, you know, assets too. But yeah, I mean, if it gets wiped, and there's a, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But I mean,
say it's a
that's
black swan
maybe-
event.
Yeah, it
that's a
is.
black swan event.
Crypto to zero, that's a black swan. We might
And
see
I
that this
know-
year.
So
And I know people who
would
are
you
waiting
all
for-
hold? Would you all still hold?
I have a
And buy more.
I will. Yeah, I'll hold, and I'll try to buy at the bottom. But yeah, I that's why I've kind of slowly put in a
Same,
little
but I
bit.
think most people wouldn't. They would get out, take their losses, and
Oh
not
yeah,
touch
they
it again.
jump ship.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's you know, buying high and selling low mentality. That's
People usually buy high and sell low, right?
Yeah.
It's mooning. I'm gonna buy it. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I just lost a load of money. What a load
Yeah.
of shit this is. Rug. It's a rug.
Yeah. So, but
Oh man.
but I know a couple of people who that I've, you know, spoken with that are looking into getting into crypto, but especially one of them is saying, hey, I've done a lot of research on it, and I'm waiting for that exact scenario to happen. So, you know, I mean,
Man.
yeah, so they're waiting. They're waiting. Like I got money set aside. I'm waiting for it I'm waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting for the regulations to come out. And when that comes out, I think everything is going to drop, and that is when I'm going to get in. And maybe that's the plan. To keep it low, and then that's when the institutional adoption happens. I don't know. That's just
Do you think it'll go lower? I think it'll go lower. I think XRP will go
But if we see
right
2
down.
cent XRP,
I'll
it
buy a
would
fucking
be
load of it.
yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If Tether actually does get rugged, then yeah, it's I could see Bitcoin being, you know, $6,000 and
$200.
yeah, or
Yeah.
Would
I
you
mean,
buy Bitcoin then?
I would not
No.
touch it ever.
No.
Again.
I wouldn't touch
No.
it.
Yeah,
Been there, done
No.
that.
I have very little Bitcoin in one of my accounts, but I
One
don't.
of my little accounts.
Yeah, hopefully I have some money set aside. Then I'm kind of, you know, putting a little bit on the shelf. Hopefully that I can just go boop, and I'll just kind of dollar cost average whenever it goes down.
Does Mrs. Modbus know about this?
I always ask permission. I'm like, hey, she's like,
How
well,
many
I have
people
this.
have bought their crypto and the wife didn't know about it? And once it was revealed, there was a divorce.
I ain't got a wife, so I don't give a shit.
I got tired. I got tired of getting recommended and yelled at, hey, you bought this much, and I'm like, yeah, okay, next time I'll ask permission. But I had to, I used to like, hey, buy now and ask for forgiveness later. But
It's
I
mooning.
don't,
It's
Hello, darling. We're mooning.
I,
I don't,
I
I
love
don't do that.
you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
What you after? Nothing.
Let me
So
tell you,
you
yeah,
didn't ask
sorry.
permission. You put 10,000 into, I don't know, some crypto, and then you didn't tell about it. But the moment it moons, you have ordered several Lamborghinis to the front door, and then
Aren't
you
you
tell your wife.
clever?
Then you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, until that happens, then yeah, that's
Yeah,
The-
there
that
is
the-
that
this kind of thing going around for many years that Lambo is the, I don't know, the
I'd rather have a
materialization of
Porsche.
moon, right? People all
I'd
want to
rather
get
have a
Lambos
Porsche.
or a
See, I'd rather say Porsche.
I like
honestly,
Porsche.
I would
When
be
Porsche.
happy as like and like what Scarborough's doing, hey, it's kind of like my retirement, that's
Yeah,
I'd
that's
be,
all I look at it. To
So
be
the
yeah,
honest,
philosophy is hold it and forget it.
yeah, I just put it there. I don't care what it does or anything. I don't really give a damn. It's just there. If it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. Who cares? I'm not worried. Who
same,
cares?
yeah. I haven't invested enough to like if it all goes down to
It goes
nothing,
down. If it goes to
it goes
nothing, it goes
down.
to
Yeah,
nothing. Never
But it's
mind.
this
Oh
kind of
well.
risky investment where you really have to be that way, right? You have to say, okay,
You have
whatever's in
to.
there, it's gone already.
It's gone. As
It's
soon
gone
as you
already.
invest in crypto, it's gone.
Yep.
You no longer. It's disappeared. Forget
it
about it.
disappears.
You've lost your money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how you got to see it.
You got to keep working, do your day job,
Yeah,
as if
yeah.
nothing
I
happened,
don't
as if
think.
you have nothing.
Damn, come on, go up. I want to retire. No, it's gone. I've spent it. It's gone. It's like
I've
buying a
seen some of
jumper
these.
or anything.
I've
It's
seen some of
gone.
these influencers saying, "Hey, max out your credit cards and buy
Oh,
Bitcoin." I'm
buddy,
like,
it's the worst
oof.
thing I've ever.
BitBoy
I've
is a
read
big one
that
on
a
those
few
kind of
times.
things, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
Look what
I'm
happened to
like,
him.
come on. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, come on, man.
But they shouldn't tell people to do that. That is so wrong. You should
Exactly.
never do
Right.
credit cards and credit anything. If it's disposable income and you can afford to lose it, fair enough. But if you can't afford to lose, do not invest in
You
crypto
have to still
or
consider it like
NFTs or anything.
you
Right.
have to still
It's
consider it the blockchain right now and cryptos and assets as crazy internet money.
Gambling.
yeah,
Gamble,
you're
yeah.
gambling. It's a
Yeah,
big gamble. It's
But it
it
is.
is a gamble.
huge.
I mean,
I
we
mean,
none of
I've
us.
been on an NFT thing and I got a free mint on SEI, say, or whatever, and people spent like £2 in my money or £1.50 or whatever. Oh, it's rugged. It's rugged. I've lost my money. So, well, if you can't afford to lose it, what you doing?
Yeah,
Who cares? It's rugged. It's cost me 50p or what? Damn, I can't survive anymore. Who cares? Surely, if you're that worried about a dollar or whatever, then you shouldn't be doing it. You
right.
really shouldn't be touching this because you're going to lose every time. So
People are kind of
don't invest
desperate,
it.
right? All the,
Yeah, they're desperate. They want $1 to turn to $152 instantly, and oh, I've lost 20 cents. Oh, my life's ending. Don't invest. What you
but it's
doing?
also because the general situation is kind of bad, right? We have inflation worldwide, like Modbus was saying. We got wars, we got fear everywhere being generated. We
Yeah,
got pandemics happening and then the threat of a new one coming, and people are maxed out on what they're spending for food and bills and
but
whatnot.
then don't invest in crypto
But
because
it's
it's
the
the
hope
high
of the little
risk.
guy who wants to see
Well,
if I can invest into some
it's
Terra
not gonna.
token and I can put in 10,000 and I can be a billionaire, so
It's
that's
not
what
gonna
they do.
happen, buddy.
It's
It's
not
not
going to
gonna
happen.
happen.
And we
Nope.
see this stuff rug and fail, but people do it. It's the little hope, that they
But
have.
don't bitch and moan about it. Just fucking get on with life. It's gone. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
If
And
the
you're
big
that
there's,
thing.
hard,
yeah,
if you're that hard up and you can't afford to pay your bills, you feed your kids and feed yourself, then you shouldn't invest in crypto. Worst thing you can ever do. NFTs,
Yeah,
crypto, don't do it
yeah, don't do
because
it.
obviously it's unsustainable. As soon as you invest in NFTs, crypto, or whatever, it's gone. Your money's gone. And that's the only way you can look at it. It's disappeared.
I've seen
And
people
that's it.
encourage others to go to the credit card, max it out, buy all the
Yeah, yeah.
crypto.
I've
With
read
the,
that.
you
I've
know
read
what
that
was
for
the
years.
you read it, so you know they're saying, oh, there's gonna be Nisara and Jizara, and all your debts are gonna be forgiven from your credit card and whatnot.
Ah, fucking
And
yeah,
then you should buy now, and
Yeah, fuck
you won't
yeah,
have to pay
righto.
it back. All those crazy things that
Yeah,
we hear from
yeah.
influencers. It's absurd.
Fucking
It's
righto. Of
coming.
course it
It's coming
is.
in 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks. But I think if people listen to influencers and all the rest of it, more for them because they're just taking your money.
I just
And
blocked it.
that's
Fuck
it.
'em.
Yeah.
Fact.
If you've got to, if you can't have spare money, you have to feed your family and look after your bills and everything. If you've got a spare $50 or whatever, fair enough. But if you invest it, it's gone. Don't worry about it. It's disappeared. Don't
Yes,
bitch and
just
moan
have fun.
that it's gone.
Have
Have
fun.
fun. Have
So-
fun. Invest in a NFT project or whatever. Have fun.
Do your
Me-
research, and just you find your little niche, do your research, have
Make
fun.
friends. Make
Make
friends. Have
friends.
fun.
I mean, people
That's how
can.
us four got together, made friends. The money side of it's irrelevant. Make friends.
You can learn, right? You can put 50 or
Yeah.
$100, and that goes a long way to go into a bunch of cryptos you can play with. Set up
Yeah.
different wallets, send it, receive it,
And if
get
you
some
lose the
NFTs.
$100, you've lost the $100, but you're making lifelong friends. You're making connections. That's the most important thing.
And you've learned something about new technologies without risking your
And
retirement.
life. Learned
Yeah.
about
Exactly.
life.
Right.
As you do, MD. Wind me up now because you've learned life. You know how to wind me up.
No, I just give you, return.
off.
Yeah.
I can soon have a word with someone, you know that.
Yeah. You need it, my friend. You need it. How are you
Yeah.
guys with time? You have to be good for today. You still have more time, or what's the
I have
situation?
a little bit, but not too much. Yeah.
Do you want to, guys, talk about something closing this out for today? Maybe 5 or 10 minutes?
Sure.
Do you want to touch on AMM?
Yeah, sure. So what do we know about AMM? AMM's coming to XRP.
If you're going to have a go on AMM, I would say no endorsement. Go over to Orchestra, have a go there, testnet, have a play with it.
Testnet, keyword, testnet.
Testnet, have a play with it, and don't just go and have a play with it. Don't think it's like staking. Don't think it's like anything else you've ever seen. I will not touch it, but I went and had a play for
We
fun.
did have a play, right? We
Yeah.
minted some testnet
Yeah.
tokens, and
Had
you
a
can learn what
play,
happens if
have a
market
play
goes either
and
way.
watch your money disappear.
I got
Quick.
two. I
Yeah.
got two
Very
words.
quick.
I got 2 words. It's called impermanent loss. So
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you don't know those 2 words, stay away from AMM.
Stay away
Stay
from
away,
AMM,
yep.
but do some serious research.
And I see some of the influencers saying, "Oh, this is DeFi." You know, it is a form of DeFi, but
Man.
you're gonna
It's
like
dangerous.
staking. You're gonna make a percentage off of what you hold, and like
Yeah, we can all make it look pretty, buddy.
you can have some impermanent loss too. And kind of some of the research and videos I've watched. I watched a few cartoon videos. I'm an expert now.
I
But
know,
anyway,
we watched one of them.
yeah, I sent it to y'all. And I'm like, you see you see it, and you're like, yeah, say the value goes up. Well, your impermanent loss is only this much. Now you would have made more money by not even entering the AMM.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like, well, why would I even want to enter it? Like,
Yeah.
I can see maybe like the big and firms and stuff and doing that, but yeah, I'm not touching it. I'm waiting for like a money market, kind of solution where, like quote unquote retirement, where you can put it in and you have a nice, stable, guaranteed return, and you don't have to touch it. That's what I'm waiting for.
Interest, basically.
Interest,
Let's say you get
on what you
2%,
put in.
right? Or whatever it is, a low
Yeah,
stable
a bit
amount.
of interest.
Yeah.
like a CD
Yeah, a
with
bit
a
of
bank.
interest.
Yeah, you roll your money into a CD for 6 months, a year, and you get a certain X amount of percent back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for. A guaranteed, regulated solution that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I'm kind of waiting for before I even do that. Until then, I buy NFTs and I support the projects that I like and
Yeah.
that I've been talking to.
So basically, we encourage you guys getting NFTs and playing with it, buying them, selling them. With AMM, stay away. Or if you want to get into it, at
Ugh.
least go to the testnet and learn. Learn
Yeah.
with money that's, just there for you to
Free,
learn how
it's
it
there
works.
to
Yeah.
learn and play.
Or just sit
As I
back and
say,
watch it all play out.
I mean, we all have
Oh,
still fond memories about,
Crown,
remember?
to be honest, I'm sitting back watching them all
Yeah.
fucking lose it all and go on fucking meltdown.
Yeah, I was
Where's
And pay,
saying,
attention, and pay
XRP
attention
gone?
to those who are winning too. I think that's the key. Pay attention to those who will
Yeah.
win it.
do you guys
And
recall
who are
Flare
they?
Finance and how that
Oh,
went?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Crown.
Songbird.
I mean, not Crown, but Scarborough.
Yes,
I have you so far. I've added $6.50 into the swear jar app.
Oh, fucking hell. Let me give you some
Oh,
fucking more.
There's even more now.
This is Modbus. Are you counting this? Make sure you don't take any of the fucking money out. There's another dollar.
That's Scarborough's retirement fund right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Flare, so I got it from I got into XRP, before the what do you call it, the snapshot, for Flare.
Yeah, snapshot for Flare.
So
I
did
got
we.
it. I didn't sell it. I didn't do anything. I was like, yeah, might as well. I mean, it wasn't that much, but yeah, it's cool to see, to see a lot of positive things coming, with the news with Flare. And I wish them well. I wish Sologenic well. I wish everybody who's building something, well,
Wow.
I want
Yeah.
everybody to succeed, unless you're like a rug puller or something, then I don't, of course, but yeah.
I mean, I know where MD was going when it first started with their little AMM kind of thing was on Songbird, where they put it into a nest and they put it in and they got wiped out, and the bitching and moaning, I've lost all my Songbird. Well, you're gonna, because they just wiped them out of it. And it
I
was
never
the same kind of thing.
understood people buying into a test net and expecting.
Well, we know a few who did.
Dear Lord.
I mean, I know.
Big time.
If
And
you did,
it
you did.
was, the thing was, even Hugh Fillion himself, who I don't want to say shifty, said it's a test net. It's a test net. It's test. And that's what we're testing. Yet
And
people went
they,
in.
to be honest with you, that's kind of on Flare. They should have never allowed you to put money into a test net. Like most other test nets that
I know.
you get to, like on the XRPL or even XLM. I've messed with those,
You get free test tokens to play
you
with.
get free
Right,
test tokens.
that's Orchestra. That's what Orchestra are doing, where
Right,
you get
yeah.
free tokens to have a play with it. And me
But
and
that's
MD
what
had a
made
big
it
play
also
with it.
shady, right? Because they were actually wanting your money to play with, and then they ran off with it. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I agree with you
That was
there.
the
It
shady
should
thing
never-
about it.
it
Not
should never
Orchestra,
been-
by the way.
Yeah, it should have never, Songbird should have never been allowed for people to
No.
purchase
No,
Absolutely not.
money. It's a
no,
test
it
net.
should have been
It's a-
tested. Test money, not real money.
Exactly.
And that was the bad thing about it, that people couldn't get out of their so-called nests, and it was locked, and they couldn't get out of it, and it just wiped people out. But people went into it blindly without doing any research, doing any kind of intelligence behind seeing what they were investing in. They just went for it. And it's like, and I think this will be the same thing with AMM, because people have waited so long. They'll just do it because it's new without actually understanding what's happening. And then they'll
Yes.
moan that I've lost all my XRP. Well, don't be so fucking stupid. It's your own fault.
Yeah, they don't do the research and they see these
They don't
influencers.
play. And as I say, with Orchid, it's there for you to have a play with and have a play. Whereas Sunbird didn't. It just straight in. There was no trying or anything.
That's
People
what makes
should
us the
try
oddballs is
Yeah.
we stay informed, we do research, we try things, we test stuff out, we have fun with it. And then you got
And
people,
learn.
yeah, we
Yeah.
learn. And then you got other people who don't, that follow like certain influencers that tell them, hey, do this, and then they get whacked out and they get
Yeah.
upset. Yeah.
And I think
I-
that's a good place to end this video. Basically, we're not giving financial advice, but we do give one advice. Be careful and play with little
Very
amounts of
careful.
money. Be very careful.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the only advice we will give everyone.
Be very careful.
We want to thank Modbus and Crown for being here today. Thanks for your
Legends,
time
thank you guys.
Thank you.
and that
been a
spirited
pleasure.
conversation. I hope we can bring it back someday when there's new stuff coming on to talk about. And with that, Nick.
Everyone, to the moon.